What is up, Thrive fam? CJ Finley here, back with another Thrive on Life podcast episode. And today, I'm welcoming one of my good friends and mentees back to Austin,
Yes,
Texas.
sir.
He's been in hiding in Irving. Where is it?
Yeah, Irving, Dallas. Irving, Texas. Dallas.
I would say Dallas, but
Dallas.
Irving. How close is that to Dallas?
It's like 20 minutes away from downtown Dallas.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So today, Hamza
Yes,
and I
sir.
are going to kind of discuss what it's like going into his last semester of college. One of the things we like to do here on the podcast is kind of catch up with people in different times of their lives. And Hamza's been on the podcast before, and we literally recorded on what was it like I say this every time we're on the podcast. What is that? When we were with Fayez in my living room.
Oh, with the blender.
Spatula.
Yeah,
No,
spatula.
no, a whisk.
Oh yeah. A whisk.
So, just a little backstory before we get into it. Before I had the headsets and the recorder and the full setup, I was using lav mics on my phone, and we were trying to do a three-person podcast,
Yeah.
and we only had two lav mics. So what we did was we attached one lav mic to the whisk, and then we handed the whisk around.
Yeah.
Super ghetto, but it worked, and I'm just happy to kind of be here now. And if you're watching this on YouTube or you're watching some of the content, you'll see we have a blank wall behind us right now. That should be getting fixed this weekend, where we're going to start painting and getting all the aesthetic down in the new studio. So super hyped for that. But today, I'd love to welcome you, Hamza, back to the podcast. How are you? How's summer been? How's life been? And then I'm going to ask you some kind of personal questions to help the audience out there and then learn
Yes,
more about
sir.
you.
Yes, sir. No, life's been amazing. Thank God. Nothing to complain about. Quarantine was a really weird time, but it felt like a movie, but it's okay. I've been kind of under a rock, as a lot of my friends have been saying, and as you've been on my ass about whenever we talk. As someone that creates content and is on social a lot, I've gone underground a bit for the last quite few months, and I never really understood when people say that creating content and documenting your journey is tough, and while building a business. I experienced that firsthand. I mean, it's not that just because it's tough you shouldn't do it. It's just it's hard, and I experienced the hard difficulty of it. So I I decided to just go underground. But for the past 3 months, I've been building a new marketing agency. It's called Cataleads Systems, and it's a real estate marketing agency specifically geared towards helping real estate agents automate and completely get hands off of their marketing and sales pipeline. So that's what I've been working on, and just focused on growing. And of course, just hyped to be back in ATX, bro. Haven't seen you in a minute, and the whole startup circle. So just excited to create again. This is basically my initiation of popping my head out again. And then, yeah, man, I'm excited to actually showcase the journey and what I've been doing the past 3 months. And yeah, share that.
Yeah, you mentioned something there about like documenting and executing at the
Yeah,
same time.
yeah,
So like executing on business, and one of the things that I like to kind of inform creators on is you don't necessarily have to be putting out
that's true.
every single day, but you should be recording every
I will
single
tell
day.
you this. Yeah, I've been recording my camera roll. I have a 64 GB iPhone. It's full right now. I just need to get that edited. So I am proud of one thing is that I recorded a lot of back end. I just never put it out. So
Yeah.
I think you'll
So,
be proud of me for that. So
yeah. Well, I'm always proud.
yes,
It's just
sir.
I'm here to kick you in the butt,
Hell yeah, and I like that. I appreciate that.
and yeah, it's the things that we all struggle with. I mean, I have right now a hard drive, a 10 terabyte drive that I'm just throwing videos on from
Yep.
this podcast because I don't even have the ability to get as much out as I want to. But eventually, one day, I want to hire somebody to go through and
Yep.
start getting those out to the different channels that will find them valuable. So as long as you have that content, so if you're listening to this and you are building anything really in 2021 and beyond, like documenting that process and telling stories around that will, one, help you build your team
Yep.
and build like a rallying cry around what you're doing, and ultimately help your customers see that journey and build trust, which is, if you listen to the last podcast with Corey Lawson, we talked a lot about building trust with your customers and your clients. So the number one way that you do that is by recording client recording content for your
Yeah.
clients to see, where they see you're just a normal human being that's trying to hustle and grind and provide as much value as possible to the market. But let's get right into it.
Heck yeah.
Today, I got a couple questions for you, um, revolving around entrepreneurship, college, and just like in general. I have no idea what it's like to be in college right now. Crazy enough, I'm going on a decade since I really was like in the thick of it
Yeah.
there, which is crazy to me. But something that I want to pick your brain on is currently in college, what you've been learning, and now that you're going into your last semester, what is something that you wished was taught in the university atmosphere that you've had to learn on your own?
Oof. Okay. Now this is subjective, and this is I don't mean to generalize, but this is in accordance with my experience. I wish, and again, for context, I'm in business school. I'm a finance major. I wish they taught us how to be disruptive in creating attention and retaining that attention from people. Sadly, unfortunately, a lot of my peers would agree with me. It's sort of that business school kind of puts you in a box of what it means to be a perfect candidate for the top three consulting firms or Goldman Sachs to hire you. But I feel like whenever I resort to genuine and more organic methods, it just always yields the best results. And I feel, hanging out with you and the other, peeps in the startup circle, I've learned more from you guys than about networking and connecting with people and life hacking your way into opportunities that you want. And I feel like the people in business school that have gotten even the consulting internships, investment banking internships, they've kind of life hacked in their own way, but not necessarily from something that they learned in school. Just to give a live example, I hope my professor doesn't see this. Not gonna name drop or anything. It's an internship course credit. Basically, it's the internship credit, and there's a post reflection assignment, and it's about perfecting your LinkedIn profile and making it look clean and nice. And right now, I have my LinkedIn profile optimized in a manner where I'm doing outbound messaging. And when real estate agents click on my profile, I want them to know that what I do, see testimonials, and sort of like it's optimized for that manner. But when I went on the rubric and criteria for the LinkedIn assignment, it was completely not opposite, but just very generic and kind of in the box, I would like to say. And I emailed her, and I asked, would you like me to create another profile because I don't want to change this. It's for my business. What do you recommend? And she was just like, this has been created by the working faculty of our school, and your grade will be graded as such to the criteria. Basically, in other words, just do just do as you're told. You know what I mean? So that kind of just to give an
Man, I would
anecdote.
go to the dean. Like that, literally.
So here's my plan. I mean, like, hopefully, God forbid, like she doesn't grade me down on that because that's if that's the in my way of graduation, I'm gonna go off. But yeah, I hopefully that kind of gives an anecdote to that point. Like I wish we were taught on how to life hack your way into opportunities, how to create attention for yourself, and how to retain that attention. Yeah, so I think in today's world, that would be creating content. I don't think anyone in business school knows how to create content, and that doesn't necessarily mean making YouTube videos or whatever, but creating content to bring attention to yourself and building that authority and so on and so forth.
I think the key word there is you just said authority, and
Yeah,
people don't look at it like that. They look at it like my resume
right.
back in the day was my authority, but
Yep.
what they don't realize is that like I can go and pay someone to write my resume.
Yeah,
I can't pay somebody to record me on video and like actually showcase what am I actually doing. And that's where you can get that leg up, I think, in real life now. People don't view it as much as, wow, like I really have the opportunity to serve other people
yeah,
and show my service. They're viewing it as, oh, content or producing
yeah.
content makes me egotistical, or the
Right.
negative fear based one, versus if you're producing content that's in service of other people, you're actually showcasing what you write down on your
Yeah,
resume.
yeah.
So when those people are asking you those questions when you're going into the different jobs and whatever, you literally can just show them
Yep.
rather than tell them. And that's something that I've thought about. Like, there was no social media really when I was in college, like the
Mhm.
way that it is now. So it was like hacking back
Yeah.
then was easier because it was a lot more of who you know. And I
Exactly.
mean, it's who you know today. But now it's more about not just who you know, but like what do they know about you, and those the methods that you're talking about definitely get you in the door.
Yeah.
So
And not even to say like creating content or social media to that's like a specific vertical. I would say personal branding. Like for example, in there's an introductory course called BA 101, Business Administration 101. That's where they teach you how to dress, what's business casual versus professional, all that good stuff. Maybe instead of that, maybe do like a personal branding 301, a 3-hour class every week on personal branding. You know what I mean? That would have been huge. You know what I mean?
and make it more debate,
Yep.
make it more of a
Yeah.
conversation around personal branding. Because like one of the things, like I have a full sleeve now, and I have hand tattoos,
Yeah.
and I have molded myself into like what I am, and that has actually benefited my career. It hasn't hurt it. Versus when I was in college, that would be seen as like a negative mark. Just fall in line, wear the suit and tie, comb your hair, rather than if we're talking in personal branding and like usually the people that become the bosses and the people that are running things have some type of quirk or something that makes them stand out, just
Right.
like you're saying. So
Yeah.
if you're listening to this and you want to be someone that is reaching this next level, you can't do the same thing as everybody else and expect different results.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I always tell
Yeah.
myself.
And
So
also, just to make a point, you don't need to be an entrepreneur to have a personal brand. You know what I mean? Like,
facts.
you can personal brand in the business world, corporate world can take you far. And I've seen that with my friends that have gotten into the top consulting firms, top IB firms. And I don't think of course, I'm being very specific towards this question. I don't think the necessary tactics that they utilized were something that they particularly learned in a classroom setting. So, yeah.
Yeah, usually, and to finish on that point, because you just hit the nail on the head. Like when I'm thinking corporations, like most of the people that are listening to this, like you shouldn't be an entrepreneur. It's for people that are really passionate about it. A lot of people can benefit from being in a corporation. However, the way that you stand out there
Yeah.
is just like maybe you're a runner.
Yep.
Maybe on the weekends you give back and do service projects. Like you can talk about those and storytell in your interviews and with your managers about that because that highlights your leadership, your characteristics, like your work ethic, your grit. It highlights the different things that will make you a good employee and great manager, and really serve your company, the one that you're working for, in a better manner. So, next question: top 2 to 3 lessons you've learned from your time at UT that will apply to the rest of your life.
Oof. Okay. Now to flip the coin, what I've learned in school.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
really wanted to contrast
Yes,
it. I
sir.
didn't
Yeah.
want to like I believe there's a huge benefit
Yeah.
to university. I think a lot of people will listen to me and think I hate school because I talk negatively
Yeah.
against it. No, I just think that it could be better,
Yeah.
as with many other things in life. And
Yes, sir.
this is me trying to make it better by what didn't you learn, and now
Exactly. I feel
what
like, yeah,
have you
we
learned?
we talk about one side a lot, and again, contrary to popular belief, I don't think, dropping out or not going to school right away is the right option. So, top 2 to 3 things. I feel like going to business school, the subconscious etiquette and business behavior and the demeanor that you go about in handling yourself in interactions and engagements, whether it be in the corporate world or just being professional, I feel like subconsciously, whatever you pick up from going to the career fairs, doing interviews, I feel like that is an invaluable experience, I would say. You know what I mean? Because no matter what you say, like let's say you're an entrepreneur in your blood and you don't want to go to the corporate world, if you completely skip that environment, you will miss out whether it be 1 or 2 things that someone has, like someone that has a professional background, that has a leg up on you. Like for example, just email etiquette,
Mm.
how to dress, how to speak, how to wrap up an interview, what questions to ask, little things like that. I think go a long way. And like I said, like those are more subconscious things that you pick up by talking to your professors, being in class, and doing all the things that come along with school. And again, from my context is business school, so I think that's definitely one thing. I think the environment really helped me, um, and it was amazing complementary skill to whatever I want to do as an entrepreneur. And then second thing, I think data analysis, financial modeling, and data
Mm.
analysis. I think it's super super useful. Even though Excel is boring, I'm not an Excel ninja by any means. Like I have my friends in finance that are like absolutely crazy with Excel. They barely use their mouse. I hear some people in investment banking cut off the wire to their mouse just so they can work with the keyboard. That's what I've heard from some friends. But Excel, data analysis, financial modeling, amazing. And then let's see, the last skill or last thing I appreciate about college, I would say, not to be generic, but to see what college is meant for, and that is building your network. Like, for example, just to give another anecdote, this is my last semester. The past one year's gone in COVID. The past 2 years, I've been really busy, like infiltrating the startup environment and hanging out with you and throwing our events. That I haven't had the ability or chance to go into the Muslim community and my cultural community and give back there. So this semester, me and my roommate were naming it Operation Infiltration. So we're just we're just infiltrating the Muslim community, and
That's awesome.
it's fun. It's fun meeting new people. Like the last 4 days, we just literally went to the first event. Met someone, and then that one person brought us to all the other events. It's just like a spider web. So the more people you know, the more it's the same thing, but just make friends, build connections, and that will be single-handedly the most invaluable skill that you take away is your networking ability and ability to make friends quick.
I love that last one. And like when I think about my college experience, it really, the thing that I would have added to your response is the ability to try a bunch of different things and
That's true.
fail at them. Because like when I look back, I wish I had tried more because there's half the stuff I don't even remember doing or
Yeah.
trying. Like, and those experiences where you can go to an event one night and then you can go to a completely 180 type of event the next day. Like
Yeah.
you can go to like a frat one night and then you
Yeah.
can go to like a prayer session the next day. Then you can go in the middle where it's like a non-profit type of
Yeah.
event. Like there's so much going on and you have so much all in one little space. It's like a mini city, and
Yeah.
that's really what I think one of the things that I went to a bigger college. I went basically to the UT of New Jersey, and Austin really works for me because it was kind of like my college where it was like a big university but like interconnected
Yeah.
where it's a big city here but everybody that's in this space kind of knows each other, and I really like that. And if you really want to get on different projects and different things, you can do that. And I think it's cool to watch you step into this last phase of your collegiate career because now you're kind of connecting the dots of like who am I? Who are you?
Yeah.
Like the who am I question, and then where can you serve others the most?
That's true.
And that's where the other day we were chatting about like you're disciplined, super
Yeah.
disciplined in some areas, but then not in other areas. And one of the ways I've seen you be super disciplined is in your religion. And so if you're super disciplined there, how can you provide the knowledge that you've gained in the startup world and in the business world and entrepreneurial world to the communities that you're already disciplined in? And if you can do that, then it like kind of is like a happy marriage
Yep.
between everything you're doing. So I just want to applaud you. And
Thank you,
we
man.
haven't even talked to you. Just this was new to me that you were going to these different events and
Yeah, no, I
Operation
appreciate you, bro.
Infiltration.
Operation
That kind of sounds
Infiltration.
like you got to watch like where you're saying that, because in terms of like what I think about in college, it's just
Yeah.
like not good. We'll let you, whoever's listening
Oh
to this, kind
no.
of put that in your own way. But like, yeah, I love it. Next question: if you could go speak to your freshman self, what would you say?
Ooh, you got more time than you think.
Ooh, let's see. Unwrap
Yeah,
that a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. Man, my dad and mom, my parents, and my brothers used to tell me this, but I think it's something that you don't understand because it's kind of like in the future tense. They said that your life, like, of course, I mean, there's there's exceptions to this, but generally speaking, when you're growing up, you always have more time than you think because as you grow up, you will always be busier. Like you will continuously get busier as you grow up. And by busier, I mean addition of responsibilities, addition of like extra thoughts ruminating in your mind, just extra shit that you need to worry about and think about. So what I would say to my freshman self is, you have more time than you think, and whatever you're feeling like is burdening or stressing you out right now, it's only gonna increase. So just pucker up, shut up, and make the time to do whatever you want.
And to piggyback off that, like make the time, like to make the time, I'm always preaching systems, right? I get on you a lot for this. It's with more responsibility doesn't mean that you have to be busier.
Exactly.
And that's where it's 100% true that you're going to get more responsibility in your life. Like you're going to be making larger purchases, be building stronger and deeper relationships with people, and you're going to have a lot more risk on your
Yeah.
decisions.
To maybe rephrase, the magnitude of the responsibilities that come increase.
Increase.
Yeah.
And I like how you rephrase that because I think when the magnitude grows,
Yeah.
people take that as a busyness
Right.
factor
Right.
and they never get out of like, okay, just because the magnitude grows doesn't mean that I can't systemize and lower the magnitude of everything. So it's like, how can you put some things on like autopilot so that you can handle the magnitude? And I think a lot of people when I think of the way that you thought about that, and maybe some other people listening to this will think the same way, you have more time than you think. I think a lot of people don't have time because they're worried about such small things that doesn't give them the time to think about the magnitude of
Mhm.
the bigger things, and that really hurts them in the long run.
That's
Um,
true. Nicely put.
Systems can help that.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna preach that till
Man,
the
we could
day
talk about systems all day.
I die. What initially led you to seeking an entrepreneurial path? Because you came into college like obviously a high achieving
Yeah.
scholar, and you could go work at consulting firms and kind of work for any company you want if you put your mind to it. What kind of introduced you to this entrepreneurial path? And the reason I added this question in here for you
Yeah.
is because if there's any other high achieving people out there that did take the Deloitte path or the corporate job path, and they're interested in getting into the entrepreneurial side, it's not too late. And just like Hamza just said, like you have more time than you think.
Yeah.
So I'd love for you to kind of share a little bit of that story so maybe they can grab something from that and use it in their own life.
Yeah, so you asked like what led me to the entrepreneurial path and how I recognize that. Um, I'll start off by saying self-awareness, and honestly, I didn't call myself an entrepreneur even before I met you. I think I told you this like one time. Coming into college, I was set on, and even in high school, I was in a program called Homeland Security. My father being in the military, I was kind of set on joining the military or joining the FBI or joining the CIA. So kind of like I'm really passionate about justice, fighting oppression, and striving for equality, and all those things, and doing things for the better of people. But I think my method changed. You know what I mean? So I had one conception coming in. The mission didn't change, but the avenue and the tactics I want to use to get there changed and evolved. So I was self-aware about my mission for sure. Like I want to do all those things that I just mentioned. Very passionate about justice and helping humanity. That's very broad, but in a nutshell, I want to help humanity. And the way I can do that by joining the FBI or military, that's one way. I said no to that path. That's a whole nother convo for another time, but said no to that path, became a business major. I thought I was going to do that in the corporate world, joined a few organizations, didn't like the environment, the mindset didn't align. And then, found the world of entrepreneurship. I binged watched Shark Tank. The thing that drew me towards entrepreneurship was, I think, some innate abilities that I believe that I have, which is the willingness to take initiative and lead people and positively influence people to do good things. And especially, I think this is the biggest one, the curiosity to build things, and the passion for building things that move things forward. So building things, leading people. I just needed to find the right avenue to work towards my missions with those skills that I have. And I ended up like, what better way to do that other than doing it yourself and building something yourself. And then yeah, for those people that don't know, I used to do photography. I held a camera in my hand, and that camera got me into so many places. So that, like, just in a step, like, I got rejected at actually, I don't know if I told you, I applied for a McKinsey consulting internship the freshman year. I got rejected, was pretty bummed, and then a few weeks later I met you. So in retrospect, I believe in God. everything happens for a reason. You know what I mean? So if I didn't get rejected, I don't know where else I would be. I feel like I would be very complacent at that internship because my life would have been set after that. But that just goes to show you that once you have self-awareness, once you identify what your big mission and purpose is, and then identify what skills you have to drive you towards that, the next step is just to identify the avenue and the channel that I was looking at the wrong camera the entire time. But you just have to identify the channel and avenue that you want to get there through. So mine was entrepreneurship.
Don't worry, because I got rejected from Accenture.
Yes, sir.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because they asked me this one question. Why do you have a lot of A's and a lot of C's?
Mm. Why not bees?
So one thing I did in college was anything I knew that I can get an A in, like that I was passionate about,
Yeah.
came easy. I would make sure I get an A. Everything else that I didn't think applied, wouldn't spend any time doing it, and I would just take the C. I would get a 3.0 at that point. So if you're listening to this, like you just do the math and you get a 3.0. Now I had to keep a 3.0 for my scholarship. So that's why, that's truly why, but I
Yeah.
just blamed it on like I was an athlete and then like I would load up during the spring and like that would be a tough semester and then I would get A's during my kind of like lesser
Yeah.
semester during my fall season. But really, it was just I kind of was strategic around what can I write off as C's and what do I know I'm going to get A's in because I'm like really passionate about this class and what I can do. But everything was so spot on with that, and it kind of like I want to riff off that because you mentioned you didn't even like know you were an entrepreneur
Yeah.
and you didn't call yourself an entrepreneur. And this is another question I want to go down because there's a lot of people out there that don't even know that they are truly entrepreneurial because they look at social media and these other things and think like I'm not like that, but they don't understand it's like it's a lot more than just wheeling and dealing on social media
Yeah.
and building huge products, and it could be as small as like a lemonade stand or
That's true.
building an Etsy shop or taking photos for people on the weekend for $50 a pop. Like you're an entrepreneur at that point. So when you say the word entrepreneur, like what do you define it as? And it can be whatever you want it to be if you're listening to this, but I want to know specifically for you nowadays, now that you've kind of grown out of all these different projects and things that you were doing, what would you define it as today?
A full-time visionary and a part-time operator that strives to build solutions for existing problems.
What about like you have Elon Musk?
Yeah.
Is getting to Mars a problem or not?
Ooh, that's true. Mm. I haven't thought about that.
And what solutions come from him trying to get to Mars? So if he's trying to get to Mars, what technological advances happen just because he's trying to get to Mars?
Exactly. Yeah.
That can
Yeah.
also then go down different silos into the car industry, healthcare industry, solar industry.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm really literally just
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah. No. 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 I feel you. Now I'm thinking while you were speaking about that. See, the world of entrepreneurship and the label entrepreneur is such, it can encompass anything that you want, but I think the parameters are that you have a very, very big appetite for risk, but the things that you want to build, I think your vision surpasses your boundaries of reality. I don't know if that kind of makes sense, but like you used to say this in the car when during our first 3 months of working together, you said, I knew I would be here, but I didn't know I would be here. Sort of like that, you know what I mean? Like entrepreneurs know where they're trying to go and they know that they'll get there, but they don't know how they'll get there, or
you're
sort of,
right, yeah.
yeah, yeah, like kind of in that sense.
It's it's almost like graduation day.
Yeah.
Like you like when you enter college, like you know you're going to be walking across that stage,
Yeah.
but you don't know exactly who you're going to be standing next
That's
to.
true. That's true.
You don't know, is it going to be raining that day, sunny? You don't know who's going to show up to support you.
Yeah.
You don't know the trials and tribulations that are going to happen through those 4 years to get you there. And it's the same thing with like a corporate job where you get raises and bonuses and you're leveling up and new offers. It's like you can feel that you're going to get there that one day. Like the people that become the VPs, the presidents, the CEOs of corporations, they know from day one
Yeah.
are, and that's how they get there. If you don't set that,
Yeah.
if you don't have that foresight, you're not gonna get there.
Mhm.
And I love how you kind of put it that way. And I think one of the things that I think about when it comes to entrepreneurship, and this is what I love about you, is skin in the game. It was, it's, there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that say they want to do things, but when it comes to risk and like how you mentioned risk, like you literally were risking your future career path by doing some of the things that you're doing and like taking a summer internship with me rather than going to those
Yeah.
other places. And like when I saw that appetite risk, that makes me then fired up to
Yeah.
invest more into you. And I think true entrepreneurs really have a good sense of who else is willing to take on that risk and ultimately put the mission. I love how you use the word mission, a mission above all else. Like, I'm going to make this mission happen. I don't know how it's going to look. It's going to change all the time,
Yeah.
but it's going to happen.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. I mean, like you have your mission set in stone, and the way you get there changes, but you have to be flexible with the tactics, and how you get there. And yeah, man, I feel like just to give another personal anecdote, I don't know how many students or fellow peers will be watching this. I might chop up some clips and put it on my YouTube or TikTok.
I'm going to hold you to
But
it.
yes, sir, yes, sir. But just to give another personal anecdote, it's my last semester, and I'm a finance major. I'm about to graduate. All my friends are recruiting. They're doing interviews. They're trying to get their jobs, and I have no safety net. I'm not. I'm not going to the career fairs, and I don't say this to seem egotistical. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the other path. It's just to show you and kind of convey to you that this is the type of risk that you take. It's just merely another route that I'm taking. So I have no backup plan. You know what I mean? So no contingency plan. I feel like my degree is just a contingency plan. And over the past few months, another milestone in my life occurred. I don't know if I told you. I think I spent more on myself than I have ever have. I spent almost like a tuition's worth of money into other coaches and consultants when when starting up this agency. So yeah, man, I even paid a guy $1,000 for 1 hour of his time. I never thought I would do this, but that guy is literally 1 year older than me, and runs a very successful seven-figure marketing agency. John Danes, free shout out.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And
man.
that fire, again, talking about risk, talking about appetite, like that's what it takes to get to the next level. And as some of the motivational stuff I'll listen to, they always say burn the bridges. You can't
That's
go back
true.
then. You got to
Yep.
burn the bridge.
Your
Like
back's
there's
against the wall.
no other option, and I love it, and it's awesome to see and just see the transgression over the years.
Thank you, brother.
What resources have been most helpful to you?
Like just overall.
Just like in general, when you think about over the past like 4 years of your life, what has been the most helpful for you? And if you can make it like a
Okay.
little bit like random, because I think a lot of people don't realize that like some of the best resources are right under their nose and they don't even
Yeah.
recognize it.
Let's see. Definitely having someone like you in their corner. So finding someone that's doing what you want to do and find a way to give them value in exchange for their time or mentorship.
So how do you get to that point? So what would be the resource that
Yeah.
led to that?
Yeah. The way I found you was through a social media marketing panel at UT, and the way I found about that was putting myself in the necessary environments where I could make those connections. So that again leads back to like being self-aware and knowing where you're trying to go. Like when people say I don't know what I want to do, I completely like understand you, but you know what you're trying to accomplish in life. You just don't know how you want to do that yet. So once you identify what you're trying to do with your life, then just find the necessary environments that you can put yourself into, and then you'll meet the necessary people that can help you, and then just dig deep and find some way that you can help them and provide value to them, because a relationship is a two-way street, and then establish the connection. So
So
yeah, that's one resource.
and then making sure you're maximizing your environments is like
Yeah.
a huge resource.
Yeah, so yeah, communities is another resource. I feel like just by meeting you, met so many brilliant masterminds like Fayez, and I mean we're close, so that's why I only name drop him. But there's several other people, man. You know what I mean? If I start name dropping it, like other people would say, "Why didn't you say my name?" But it's just so many people that accumulatively have helped me get to where I am today. You know, like just the little interactions, the little conversations that we had in the DMs or in the person, led to where I'm at. So mentor, community, and can I say Google? Google helps.
I love,
Google.
yeah, you could say that of just leveraging technology.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I have one more to add for you. When I thought about the question you answered earlier, we said you had a camera that you use. So like a resource for you was a technology that allowed you to
Mm,
provide value. So it doesn't have to be a camera for everybody, but it's like,
a skill,
yeah,
a skill that you can help someone with. Like it can be design
that's
or
a
something.
need, like
Yeah.
in the market.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yeah.
it could be
Yeah.
like, again, corporate job. What does your manager need? Or your PhD student? What do your peers need? What do your teachers need? Find ways to acquire skills to help them and be valuable to them.
Like immediately I can think of like, professors and, faculty staff, they might be working on research projects or something that they're working on, and find a way you can aid them and then get those connections and get to the place that you want to go to. So I think, yeah, skill is a resource. Like in no way, shape or form do I want to be a full-time videographer or photographer. I hate editing, but I knew how to do it. And I use that as a skill to start conversations and meet necessary people. So I think your skill, mentor, and community. Boom.
It's like the totem pole, baby.
Yes, sir.
How have you handled stress of school and entrepreneurship combined?
Damn, I don't think I still figured it out yet, man.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, man, I would be bullshitting if I said I found a good way to do it. Like,
What's the difference between like the first steps and then like I guess
yeah,
this
yeah,
year?
yeah,
Because like you're taking on a lot of risks this year, right?
yeah,
So like 3 years ago, I think that would have scared you a lot,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
But now you seem a lot more calm, cool, and collected. Like, how do you get to that point?
Yeah, bro. I mean, when we met, like, I was still caring about my grades, even like a year into like my entrepreneurship journey. I cared about my grades, um, and there's nothing wrong about caring about your grades, but I feel like it's just about setting your priorities and just doing the bare minimum to get by. As for like entrepreneurs in school, just do the bare minimum, get by, do the requirements because you know that you're not necessarily going to use that. So right now I'm just like doing the bare minimum to get by in my classes, and using the spare time I have either to, just work on systems, do sales or whatever I need to do. And yeah, priorities, definitely priorities. Kind of follow the instructions that you have up here on the whiteboard, systemize your life and do a pie chart, Excel sheet of your 24 hours in a day, and then break down where you can optimize your time to work on the things that you want, and then school.
You just gave me a thought. Like in school, if you know, like this is how business works. Like if you know that if you give your 100%, you can get an A. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Like you don't have to get the A though, and that's what
yeah.
a lot of people trip themselves up because like school is a great learning environment. You can take the information and do what you want with it. But if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to use that information to figure out how to leverage it in your businesses.
That's true.
It doesn't mean you have to actually put the effort forth to go get that A. And I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of students that are growing up in this age that are conflicted because I'll talk to a lot of younger entrepreneurs and they're conflicted in the school environment because like I get it. Like I had a scholarship. If you got to keep that 3.0, well, here's what I did. I got a 3.01. I literally shit you not. Like I didn't go and try and get a 3.9. Like I knew I needed to keep a 3.0. I was like, how much energy do I have to expend to get that 3.0
And that's
to
all you
keep my
put in.
scholarship? And that's it. Because all the other energy went into events, fraternity, sports, like leveraging the other skills that I could build to become a better overall human being rather than just some student.
Yeah.
So
I feel like
you've done that a very good job of that. I
thank
think
you.
every year getting better and better.
I appreciate you. And I feel like it's also a progression. Like while you were talking, I thought of it like if there's a way to kind of visually represent this, think of it sort of like a like a bar that's moving in opposite directions. Like this side you have your certainty of what you want to do, and on this side like your uncertainty of how valuable your degree is.
Mm.
And it's slowly like your uncertainty of, that your degree as an entrepreneur, of course, is becoming less valuable, and you're getting more sure of what you want to do. So you get to that point of you're like, fuck this, and I know what I want to do. So, and also here's like another tactical tip. Like, I mean, I'm brown, I'm Desi, I'm Muslim. Like, bro, if you don't get an A, you're not getting food in the house. So, the freshman year, I got two 4.0 semesters, and then sophomore year 3.8, 3.7, and then I was kind of like started getting into that bar started moving. So at that point I started, like just sliding and smooth sailing, because if you work it off and set a good baseline, then you can just have chill senior and junior years where it really matters. So
And you proved that you could do it
yeah,
if you really had to.
yeah,
And to that point, like I kind of did the same thing. I think I started off with like 3.5s or
yeah,
something like that, and then I just started progressively putting my energy towards other things to build out a well-rounded skill set. Um, and yeah, I think a lot of people, again, this doesn't just apply to college. Like if you're in a job you don't necessarily like, don't kill yourself
yeah.
24 hours a day to maximize that job. Like maybe do what you got to do to pay your bills, but on the flip side of that, you need to be looking at and spending time at what do you really want to do, and where is that environment that you really want to be on, where you want to give
That's true.
120% every single day, because then it just is flow state.
Hell yeah.
For all other graduates, whether it's high school, undergrad, graduate school,
Oof.
what are your recommendations to how they should approach the next step of their lives? So this is anybody out there. It could be med school, it could be undergrad, it could be high school. They're stepping into another kind of arena of their life. And I think a lot of people struggle with this because you are like basically becoming a phoenix. Like you gotta literally
He's starting new.
there's no more big man on campus anymore. Like you gotta start over. What steps are you taking to this new like world that you're preparing for, and what do you think what is something everybody could be doing to kind of
Hmm.
prepare for that transition?
Let me establish that I'm coming at it from a more so I'm in the boat with you, because I don't want people to think I've been through this already. I'm literally in the process of going through this. So what I'm doing right now is being really firm and staying true and steadfast to the things I believe in, and holding those things and making constants in my life. So for example, my faith and my religion, have something that can back up your morale, that can back up your motivation, and on the days that you don't have motivation, if you have like a true belief system, I think that can almost help you weather any storm that comes your way and the uncertainty. So like stay true to your belief system, whatever it is. um, and then let's see. It's gonna get scary, but your Instagram post kind of like hit deep too. It was like just step. What did you say? Step into the unknown with comfort,
With confidence.
with confidence. So life, life is a movie. A few of my friends are gonna laugh at me for saying this, but life is a movie. It's not. I mean, everyone says it's not about the end goal, but rather about the journey. So kind of like if you think about yourself like as a main character in a movie, and like you're figuring out what's gonna happen next rather than worrying about what's gonna happen next. I think that could help you too, and help kind of ease your mental state. But and then all the general stuff applies, like have a plan, have an objective, have a goal, have a blueprint, stay disciplined. That's my plan, and that's what I'm planning on doing.
You bring up an interesting point with the movie aspect, and what that makes me think about is movies are shot in frames, right? Like when you shoot a movie, you know what happens next. So if you're a person and you think of yourself as this main character, which I love, I'm actually going to probably write about this after this. What would you want that character to do in the next scene?
Ooh.
So when you watch that scene, you're like, damn,
Yep.
that's a badass. I want to be like that person. Because you're only in the frame you're shooting right
Yeah.
now, right? And really the reality of it is we can only control what's right now.
Yep.
So if you have like kind of, we have lights on in here and cameras on, so it's like kind of feels like it. But what do you want the person at the other end of that screen to see, to feel?
Yeah. Two connections to this topic. One, the Kung Fu Panda quote, where that scene where the panda is sad and the wise turtle comes and he says, "The past." Dang, I don't want to mess
You're
this
gonna
up.
butcher it.
I'm gonna butcher it, bro.
We're gonna
Uh,
have to like edit in. We'll use this buddy that you were talking about editing.
Yeah,
prior to getting
dang,
on here.
I really just forgot the quote when I was trying to do a mic drop, bro. God damn it. Damn, let me think what the quote was.
Just paraphrase
Oh,
it.
something about the past is gone and the future is not promised, but present we call it the present because it's a gift. So boom, right there. You know what I mean? The past
Mic
is
drop.
yeah, the past is gone, the future is uncertain, it's not promised, but we call right now the present is because it's a gift and you have the present moment. So that's one, and the other connection is I think Joe Rogan was talking about it in one of his episodes where he was like think of your life as think that there's a documentary crew filming your life every day, and how would you want that documentary to be? And I feel like you can draw a connection to that and the question of what do you want your legacy to be? You know what I mean? So because if what like how do you want people to view your documentary? You know what I mean? How do you want your documentary to look like? Like if you have a film crew following you around, are you really gonna sleep in that 1 hour or wake up at 6:30 and do what you need to get done? And work towards building and leaving your legacy. So I guess what do you want your legacy to be? So and work towards that.
Yeah, I love how you went down this path, and it's such a cool way to kind of go about life. And the cool thing about both documentaries and movies is there's ups and downs.
Yeah.
So be patient with yourself and be okay with understanding that there are ups and downs to life. That like no movie, no movie that we've ever been like this is great doesn't have some type of issue or problem during it. If it's just all peaches and cream throughout the movie,
Yeah.
we're like, what the hell is this?
Exactly.
Right? So your life is going to be the same way. There's going to be challenges, but the best movies out there are the ones that where it's people that decided to overcome those challenges. So love that. I can't wait to kind of look back on this
Yes,
little
sir.
piece, this little
It's gonna be a little
Panda
juicy.
Bear. I haven't heard Kung Fu Panda in a while.
Kung Fu Panda.
All right, we got two questions before we wrap up. Two more. Flash forward 10 years. What do you want your life to look like? And then the second part of this question is how do you intend to get there? Give us some practical tips.
Fast forward 10 years.
How old are you in 10 years?
I'm 20 right now.
You'll be 30 years old. You'll
Yeah.
be my age.
Yes, sir.
You're
I'll
so far ahead, dude. You are so far ahead.
Oh, stop
Just
it,
let
man.
me get right there. Like you are so far ahead. There is no
Appreciate
obviously
you, brother.
ahead or behind in the
Yeah.
way life is, but in terms of the entrepreneurial journey and like figuring a lot of stuff out about
Thank
life,
you,
you
man.
are on the right path.
And thank you. And credit, I got to give credit where it's due. I appreciate you for being a huge monumental part in that. But, okay, in 10 years, I'll be 30. What do I want my life to be like? I have my parents are financially stable, and that is possible by me having a cash flowing, successful, very successful business, where I can take care of my lifestyle and have my and allow and enable my family to live a lifestyle where like however they want. So that's taken care of, and then I have basically in 10 years I want to be in a state where I have the capital to take care of my family and fund ventures and endeavors that move me towards that overarching goal of helping humanity and fighting oppression and establishing justice, all those things that I talked about. If I have the capital, I can do that. You know what I mean? People think it's voodoo to talk about money, but if you don't have capital, capital is what we were talking about during quarantine. Like money, capital, wealth is a vehicle to move whatever you're working on forward, move your mission forward, and it amplifies who you are. So I want to fund whatever we have going, whatever we're building, Thrive on Life, and helping other aspiring entrepreneurs, helping small time or growing entrepreneurs, starting humanitarian projects in Bangladesh, in the Middle East, and helping in any way that I can. I don't even know how I plan on helping in 10 years down the road, but I know that if I have money, if I have a platform that I have built for myself that with an audience base that respects me and that I can positively influence and serve, then I feel like anything is possible. It's just about acquiring capital and the platform to do so and enact change. I think those two are the biggest drivers of change. So in 10 years, I want to be there.
So I'm going to further this question. So I talked about giving some practical steps.
Yeah.
So you're not going to know 10 years from now, but you mentioned acquiring capital. What sets you up for success to be able to have capital or acquire capital from other people, let's say even just a year from now, five
Right.
years from now,
Right.
7 years from now.
In my personal life, like what I'm doing.
Yeah, what would set you up for success? Because a lot of people don't understand that, like, man, 2 or 3 years can make a hell of a difference. So what could you do right here to then establish yourself to be able to acquire that capital
Yeah.
a lot sooner than a lot of people out there listening to us could potentially think?
Yeah. I think right after I graduate will be one of the most important periods of my life. Like from next year, basically 2022. 2022 will be very important. So the next 2 years, I need to go really hard into the marketing agency that I'm building, and then. And like you said, people underestimate what they can do in a few years. So I'm thinking of my life in 6 to 12 month blocks. So I feel like in the next 6 months, I will hit a certain income goal, and then it's about multiplying. Once I reach that certain milestone I have right now, then it's about taking that capital and finding avenues of multiplying that so that capital factor and criteria is taken care of. And then simultaneously, anything that I do, whether it be creating content like this, putting content out, writing blogs, helping people, throwing events, building communities, infiltrating communities, joining communities, and helping them. I think that's what I can do immediately right now to work towards that. So, yeah. I mean, like, just a real life example, joining the Muslim community right now to figure out a way that I can help them. Um, and then hand by like side by side, I'm working on the business right after I graduate, and like during school while I'm in school. So
I think like the biggest thing on today's podcast and this recording is you really talking about going into the communities that are right in front of you,
yeah,
and seeing where you can help, because I think it's such a, especially in today's day and age, everyone's pointing the finger in so many different directions at so many different types of people and environments without realizing that, like, they're not really doing much. Like, they're not helping at all. So you can't really say much unless you're doing a lot. And one of the things that I think you've grown in a lot of ways over the years, and we discuss this a lot, is even from a younger age, you've wanted to help. But if you're listening out there right now and you think that there's no way for you to actually make an impact, you're wrong. And that's where it starts with your house. Create a happy home first. Then go help your neighbors. Then go help 1 degree outside your neighbors. Then help your whole neighborhood. Then
that's true.
help beyond your neighborhood. Then help your zip code. Like, if you look at it like that, like, there's so many people running around trying to change the world that don't even live in a happy home. And I think for you, you've always mentioned family and stuff like that. So like, you're already rooted in like making sure that your home is correct and everything is in line there and your faith is there. And it's just one step at a time outside of that. And a lot of times we've talked about like being patient
Yeah,
with that process, because you are only 20. I am only 30, versus a lot of people be like, "Oh my God, I'm graduating and I haven't hit all these goals that I had like at school," or if I'm 30, I'd already imagined being a millionaire or being Forbes 30 under 30 and I didn't hit it. It's like, stop looking at what you didn't and look at more of like what you've done. And I think what I'm grasping just from being in your presence is you're now looking at like, okay, what do I have in front of me and how can I take advantage of that? And by advantage, I don't mean like abuse.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
mean like utilize to
Yeah.
my best ability to make an impact. So it's super cool
Hundred
to see
percent,
that.
brother. Thank you, man. No, I appreciate it, and that again goes back to like having like a firm belief system. Like I'm Muslim, and exactly in the like the order that you kind of mentioned it. That's how that's what Islam teaches. Like first, um, there are people that have rights over you. You know what I mean? As in like you have to help them like it's in that certain order. Like your family has. Like you have responsibility for your family, and then your neighbors, and then your community, and so on and so forth. So that's exactly like how our religion teaches us. So I mean, like you said, if you once you have firm rooting and firm grounding, then you can just work your way. And also, just like not to get too religious, but uh, like in the Quran, there's one very important verse. It says, "Before you try to change a nation, you must change yourself first." You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I feel like that can apply to our current state in the U.S. and in the world as well. Before we try to go change the whole world, purify yourself and change yourself first before you try to change others.
I love that. And that's where we connect on a lot of different areas. And for people listening out there, it can look in so many different ways because, like, for me, I'm a huge advocate for health and wellness
Yeah.
and personal health because, like, you can't pour from an empty cup. So I think there's just a lot of people, a lot of angry people out there right now, and a lot of people that aren't taking care of their own personal health. And if they were healthy and happy, like, ultimately, like, we would
Yeah.
get more done and it'd be a better place to live. But we're getting close to wrapping up.
Yes,
I
sir.
finished my questions. Man, you absolutely crushed this.
Appreciate you,
I
brother.
guess off the cuff, what are you looking forward to most the last half of this year? So we're entering September. We got 4 months left of 2021.
Yeah.
What is kind of like what is firing you up? You just got back to school this week.
Yeah.
So outside of like business and like all the school stuff, like
Yeah.
ultimately as a human being, what is really like inspiring you and have you motivated?
Yeah, man. I think kind of like I view my life in kind of like chapters in a book. And, I asked this question to my parents and also was talking about it with my friends. I'm in the last chapter of my college life. So I was talking with them. I was like, either I can go very hard and try to attain like a certain business milestone. Yeah, I might make money, a lot of money, and be set by the time I graduate. But then again, like I'm losing. I will lose and I will not fully experience and enjoy a period of my life where I have an access to a huge amount of people, diverse people, that can open up so many opportunities and experiences for me. So either I can, like lead a moderate styled lifestyle for the next few months and enjoy and strive for experiences and connections and relationships, or just kind of like hold down and work on stuff. And my friends and my parents were like you said, you're only 20, you have time to do that. And it's not like your brain is leaving your body. So if that doesn't work, you will always figure out a way to do that. But these next 4 months, last 4 months of college, not getting that back. So I feel like my main priority is being spontaneous, making connections, and making new friends, and just reconnecting with old ones. Yeah.
It's a hell of a wise response right there.
Thank you, bro.
Heck yeah.
Yes,
It's
sir.
been a pleasure. As always, I always kind of give my biggest takeaway, and it's funny you brought it up again to end here. The biggest takeaway I had is like you have time. What your parents said, and I think that's something that a lot of us in my life personally that hits home a lot because I got married 3 years ago, and a lot of people they get married, they buy the home, they have the kid, like it's all in like succession, and
Yeah.
just rather than taking a step back and be like we have time to have kids, we have time to do all these other things. Like what is it that I personally want to achieve and personally want to do and places I want to see? So that hits home a lot, and it's anybody that's listening that's more towards my age of the spectrum or older, let's say you're my parents, I get on them because like they just retired and I'm like, you guys have so much time. Like, because they're just like, oh, we're getting old. And I'm like, nah, like you got 20 years, go travel. Like they're
Yeah.
starting to, like they got one RV. My dad's planning to potentially have a business with that RV and then get a second one. It's like, you
Oh,
have so much
snap.
time. He just bought another house and he's going to like rehab the house. And I think a lot of people out there don't realize they're always looking at like how much time they wasted or they're regretting things rather than being like how can I get in that present and
Yeah.
view it as a gift and like what can I do with the 24 hours right now and then just make the most of that.
That's
So
true.
I appreciate you bringing that up in this podcast.
Appreciate you,
Shout
bro.
out to your parents
Thank you,
for
man.
dialing that in for you. Before we wrap up, is there anything left you got to say?
Nah, man, I don't want to ruin this mic drop moment. I'm gonna just leave it up on the
Hell
good note.
yeah. Awesome. Well,
Yes, sir.
this was a conversation with Hamza. He's one of my best buddies here in Austin. And again, I'm just super proud of you and can't wait to
Appreciate you, brother.
continue working and striving together to make this world a better place, do what we do best. If you're listening to this, I've been saying on every podcast, if you're listening on Apple, please rate and review. It's the best way to help Hamza get more ears on his episode, and then also drive more traffic to this podcast. As well as if you know anybody that would be a great guest or somebody that should connect with us, we are super down to help other people and collaborate with other people. So please reach out to us. But until next time, this is CJ Finley with the Thrive on Life podcast. Thrive on, y'all.